Good evening and welcome. I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and I'm pleased to be able to welcome you to the Brighton Town Board meeting of January 12th, 2022, our first regular meeting of the new year. So Happy New Year and welcome everyone. We will be beginning the open forum portion of our meeting shortly, when members of the public will have the opportunity to share their comments with the town board. We continue to make our meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community with our ASL interpreters. Tonight, our interpreters are, that's Talisi that you see now, and Allie. Welcome to you both. Thank you. Thank you so much. Just as a reminder, the agenda for tonight's meeting, as well as all the materials we are looking at and reviewing and making our decisions this evening, are available on a Brighton webpage. That's www.townofbrighton.org. As we do always, we will start the meeting with the pledge. If you're able to rise and would like to, please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do have three proclamations tonight. Starting with our proclamation recognizing next Monday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, not only in the town of Brighton, but of course, throughout this country. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. promoted his belief in the equality of all men and women and courageously employed the principle of nonviolence as a primary strategy to fight for freedom and justice for all, ultimately giving his own life after enduring years of personal sacrifice. Whereas Dr. King's legacy has inspired generations of Americans to advocate for and protect civil rights through peaceful means. And as we also mark the first anniversary of the attack on the US Capitol, we must purposefully and forcefully and peacefully reject inequality and inequity in all forms and practice and teach others the fundamental tenets of Dr. King's philosophy. And whereas in a country as divided as ours is today, we must remember that Dr. King believed, embodied, and professed the central ideal that the means must be as pure as the end, and that we must consistently refuse to inflict injury upon another and embrace the belief that there is within human nature amazing potentialities for goodness. Those are from Dr. King. And whereas we honor Dr. King's life and teachings and work to continue overcoming barriers and bringing people from different backgrounds together to build stronger communities and stand firm against those who would undo his legacy. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, on behalf of all of the members of our town board, do hereby commemorate Monday, January 17, 2022, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the town of Brighton, and ask that the people of the town of Brighton continue Dr. King's work each day by working together with friends and neighbors to end all forms of injustice and discrimination, and strive for the day when all women and men will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. This proclamation is signed this 12th day of January, 2022. We'll be displaying that proclamation here in Town Hall. Next is a proclamation that recognizes January as National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, and yesterday, January 11th, as National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention day. I had the privilege again of being invited by the Rochester Regional Coalition Against Human Trafficking to participate in a table and proclamation event yesterday. They do very important work, and always with the message that human trafficking is not something that happens over there in another country, in another part of our community, in place more urban or more rural. It does happen here, or as their hashtag would say, yes. So I will read that proclamation. Whereas human trafficking is a modern form of slavery involving the use of force, fraud, or coercion to exploit people for labor, domestic servitude, or commercial sex acts. And whereas an estimated 26 million adults and children of all ages, races, and socioeconomic backgrounds are victimized in countries around the world, and including the United States and our own community. And whereas there is no evidence that traffickers are more likely to be of a particular race, nationality, gender, or sexual orientation, they may be family members, romantic partners, acquaintances, or strangers. And whereas the U.S. National Human Trafficking Hotline reports that the majority of trafficking is in the commercial sex trade and disproportionately impacts women and girls, with over 22,000 victims and survivors identified in the United States in 2019. Whereas the town of Brighton supports the efforts being made by law enforcement, advocacy organizations, faith communities, and other activists, both locally and around the world, to prevent human trafficking and protect victims of trafficking. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, on behalf of the members of the Town Board, do hereby declare January 11th, 2022 to be National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Day in the town of Brighton, and use this opportunity to make all members of our community aware of the evils of human trafficking, so that trafficking and slavery are stopped and that victims are given justice and freedom. And this proclamation was signed yesterday, January 11th, 2022. And finally, this past Sunday, January 9th, was National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. And I will read a proclamation issued in honor of that day. Whereas law enforcement officers of every rank and file have chosen a profession that puts their life on the line every day for their communities. Whereas having answered a call to public service that is demanding and often underappreciated, National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day was created in 2015 to remember and honor the sacrifice, bravery, and commitment of those who are sworn to protect us. Whereas Brighton benefits from having a police department that is connected to the community and understands the needs of our neighborhoods, schools, faith communities, and commercial businesses. Whereas we are proud that the Brighton Police Department reflects the high standards we embrace as a community, strives to be accessible and responsive to residents, supports and promotes crime prevention efforts, and works to maintain a safe community, respectful of diverse ideas, practices, and people. Whereas in honor of this special day, we sincerely thank our Brighton Police Department officers for their dedication to community policing and serving the town with the utmost professionalism. Whereas National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day inspires us to recognize the men and women in law enforcement who help uphold our democracy, sometimes at the loss of their own lives, as was no more starkly evident than during the insurrection at the US Capitol just 1 year ago. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, on behalf of the members of the Brighton Town Board, do hereby proclaim and recognize January 9th, 2022 as National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in the town of Brighton. The proclamation was signed January 9th. Okay, we will now move on to the open forum. No, let me actually, just before we do that, yeah, I'm sorry, we'll go ahead with the open forum. The open forum is an opportunity to address the town board about matters, whether or not they are on our agenda this evening. We may not respond to your questions at the time, particularly if they relate to matters not before the board tonight, but I assure you that we listen and take your input seriously. If you would like to address the board during the open forum, please use the raised hand function in Zoom. When you're called upon, please, if you would, state your name and address. You will have up to 3 minutes to address the board. I will advise you when you have 30 seconds of your time left. Please address your comments to the board and not to other speakers. Our goal tonight and during the open forum held at every regular town board meeting is to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the board and for us to be able to listen to your words. Now, we do have 2 public hearings tonight, one concerning the removal of diseased or dying town trees located in town rights of way, while the other is for a proposed local law reducing the speed limit on Drury Lane, Alamo Road, Eastdale Road, and Superior Road, all in East Brighton near Penfield Road, from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour. If you are here to speak at one of those 2 public hearings, I would ask that you hold your comments until the respective public hearings have been opened, so your comments may be included in the record of the hearing you want to address. So we'll now open the open forum. I don't see anybody here. Bridget, is there anyone who would like to address the board during the open forum?
There's not anyone here for the open forum tonight.
All right.
Bill, I move that we approve the agenda.
Thank you, Chris.
Second, Robin.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Again, we do have 2 public hearings tonight. The first is concerning the removal and replacement of 7 silver maple trees located at 44, 87, and 144 St. Regis North and 197 Mayflower Drive at the corner of St. Regis North. If the math didn't add up for you, it's because there are 4 trees located at 87 that are being proposed to be removed. Dan, has the necessary legal notice been given on this public hearing?
Yes, Supervisor. The notice for this hearing was in the December 29th edition of the Daily Record.
And communicated to the adjoining Mike or Dan?
Yes, it was sent out to the property owners on the 2nd of December.
All right. Then I declare this public hearing open. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board on this public hearing? And again, Bridget, I don't see anyone, but I will, we've got a lot of materials with this, and I will ask that they all be included in the record of the public hearing. And Mike, would you like to address this matter?
Sure, I would. These are all big, beautiful silver maples. I say beautiful, they look beautiful on the outside. They're not so beautiful on the inside. We were called out to the area this past summer for a limb that came down, a limb that would about the size of a house, it seemed. It was very large. Calm summer day, it just broke free, and we were lucky no one was hurt. Walking around the neighborhood, ran into some of the residents in the neighborhood. They've indicated that they also noticed that some of the existing trees were in bad shape. Once I heard that, I sent out our arborist to take a look at it. He did take a look at all the trees and came up with these recommendations that we remove the trees before you. They were presented before the tree council and also the Public Works Committee, both in agreement. As you can see, all these trees are quite large and exceed 30 inches in diameter, so they are significant trees. As such, that's the reason we're here for this public hearing tonight, looking for comments regarding the removal. And all the trees are going to be removed and replaced with obviously smaller trees, but they will be replaced with a tree.
And not silver maples.
Or maple, absolutely.
No, but I think it is important to note, because one of the things you have done is maintain and identify trees that are suitable as street trees, which these are. And that's important in terms of preserving our tree canopy.
Yeah, the tree council's been exceptional with that. And the one thing they have recommended, which we try to also follow, is that you don't have one species in one place, because if you have something go through, it will wipe out all those trees. So we try to be very diverse in our tree selection.
Thanks, Mike. I still do not see anybody here to speak. Bridget, am I correct? There's no one that has raised their hand to speak in this public hearing? I'll take that as a no. Oh, there's Bridget.
That is correct. I've had one person contact me saying that she's having difficulties with the link online. So I'm working on correcting that on our live streaming page.
Okay. Do you know, is there a matter she wants to speak to the board about?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, in any event, hearing no one here, I declare this public hearing closed. And Robin, can I have a motion, please?
Certainly, Bill. On the matter seeking to approve the removal and replacement of a total of 7 silver maples located at 4487 and 144 St. Regis North and 197 Mayflower Drive at St. Regis North, I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Chris.
Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. The next public hearing is to consider a local law reducing the speed limit from 30 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour on Drury Lane, Alamo Road, Eastdale Road, and Superior Road. Dan, has the necessary legal notice been given in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor, this was also in the December 29th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you very much. In that case, I declare this public hearing to be open. And Mike, again, if you'd like to comment on this matter.
Sure, it's pretty straightforward, Supervisor. We received a request from one of the residents to reduce the speed limit on, I believe it was Alamo. So honestly, took a look at the bigger picture, because we're trying to make speed limits consistent within areas within the town, that are very close proximity. We found that the speed limits on Colonial Village Road, Park Lane, Dale Road are all 25 miles per hour. Whereas Alamo Road, Dale Road, Drury Lane, and Superior Road were 30. They're all in the very close proximity. It makes sense that all those roads are 25 miles per hour. So the intent tonight is to bring that into compliance with that with our, with the 25 miles per hour in a specific area. Again, tonight's public hearing, we're looking for comments on this local law.
Thanks, Mike. Again, I do not see anybody here looking to speak in the town board meeting. It looked like Bridget may have been having some technical problems and just re-entered. But Bridget, if you can hear
I
me.
did correct. Yes, I corrected the link, and if people go to it now, it will work. I tested it.
Okay. So we may have had people trying to get in, but not able to do so because there was an issue with that link.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, I guess, Ken, unless you.
As far as I'm aware, it may have just been one person.
Okay. Unless you have a different suggestion, Ken, what I'm going to suggest is that we're going to finish this matter. We'll take action on it. And if there is anybody that would like to speak on that public hearing, we will reopen the public hearing at that time.
Yeah, I would agree, Supervisor. I would suggest that once we have folks join through the fixed link, that perhaps you make inquiry as to whether anyone wishes to speak on either of the public hearings. If so, we can reopen those public hearings. And I would suggest the same for open forum, that perhaps if folks had to join late because of the broken link, that they be given an opportunity to speak through open forum as well.
Exactly. I will do that. I do see that one person has joined us, and we will give him and anyone else that arrives the opportunity to participate either in the open forum or in the one or the other of the public hearings. But first, I'm going to declare that this public hearing, well, let me ask again, because we do have one who has joined us. I will ask Mr. Gluck, are you here to speak at either one of the public hearings, or would you be here to speak during the open forum? Or perhaps neither?
Open forum.
Very good, thank you. Then I do declare this public hearing to be closed on the local law establishing speed limit reductions. And Christine, I'll ask you to make the motion.
Very happy to do so. On the matter seeking to approve a local law establishing speed limit reductions from 30 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour for Drury Lane from Park Lane to Alamo Road, for Alamo Road from Penfield Road to Dale Road, for East Dale Road from Dale Road to Superior Road, and Superior Road from Penfield Road to the town of Penfield town line. I move that we approve the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second.
Second, please.
Second, Jason.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, I'll ask you to call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Manley.
Aye. Okay, since we apparently did have an issue with the link to get into this meeting, and I see we've had a couple of people who have now joined us, and there could be more, I am going to return to the open forum portion of the meeting to make sure everybody that would like to participate in the open forum has the chance to do so. As I said initially, the open forum is an opportunity to address the town board about matters, whether or not they're on our agenda tonight, matters relating to the town. If you have questions, we may not respond to your questions, particularly if they relate to matters that are not before the town board tonight. But I assure you that we listen and we take your input seriously. If you would like to speak during the open forum, please use the raised hand function in Zoom. When you are called upon, I would ask that you state your name and address, please. You will have up to 3 minutes to address the board, and I will advise you when you have 30 seconds left of your time. Please address your comments to the board and not to other speakers. Our goal here tonight and during the open forum that we hold at every regular town board meeting is to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the board and for us to be able to listen to your input. So, Mr. Gluck, I know you had indicated that you wanted to speak. I don't see your hand raised, but would you like to speak this evening?
I would.
Go ahead then.
All right, Bill, my comments are specifically directed to you, and I'm just going to read from the Brighton Anti-Discrimination Pledge. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You wrote it, you promoted it. The town board, community leaders, and residents further reaffirm that hatred, prejudice, intolerance, exclusion, xenophobia, racism, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, homophobia, misogyny, and all other forms of discrimination have no place and are not welcome in the town of Brighton. We reaffirm that the strength of our community comes from our diverse backgrounds, experiences, and opinions, but also reaffirm that our strength comes from a shared value of respect for all people, regardless of race, color, religion, creed, gender expression, age, national origin, ancestry, ethnicity, disability, marital status, sexual orientation, or familial or military status. So what happens with the pledge? What happens when the town, the highest elected official of the town, Supervisor Bill Melee, on Monday on his personal Twitter account, and I get it wasn't on the town's account, but when Trump was in office, everybody got their underwear all twisted because of his personal account and his tweets and his likes and his retweets. So what do, Bill, on Monday? What do? There's a picture of a sign that somebody posted in somebody's window or door. Please, no solicitors. Please, no canvassers. Please, no proselytizers. Please, no ministries. Dem GOTV, which is get out the vote, volunteers, okay. And you like that. So here's the problem, Bill. My congregation located in Brighton, and I'm a member and a regular attendee to, we have a food pantry, okay? A large food pantry. We give out bread, pastries, fruits, vegetables, and everything that Wegmans can sell that's on the due date, we give out to everybody and anybody. So what are you saying? If I knock on your door, Bill, if I knock on your door and I say, I'm representing my congregation, do you have a need? And I invite you to my congregation's service on Saturday, you're going to say you're not welcome here? Because that's basically what you liked on your Twitter account. That photo said no ministries, no proselytizers. When I knock on somebody's door and I offer them food, I'm representing my congregation's ministry and I invite them to service. So what are you saying, Bill? Are you saying that I'm not welcome because I'm not part of Democrat Go Get Out the Vote volunteer? That's the only thing that's acceptable to you? That was really offensive. Shame on you. You violated the town's pledge. Where's your tolerance? How come tolerance only works one way, Mr. Melee? Your way. If I knock on your neighbor's door and I say, I'm here representing my congregation, you're saying you don't like that because you didn't like that on your Twitter account. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's really offensive. What happened to listening to each other? What happened to respecting each other's opinions? What happened to if I knock on your door and
30 seconds, please, Mr. Gluck.
what happened to if I knock on your door and I say I'm representing my congregation? I'm not representing the Democrat Get Out the Vote committee. I'm not welcome in Brighton because that's what you said on your Twitter account when you liked that. Shame on you.
Thank you, Mr. Gluck. I am going to respond to that. I saw that tweet. I honestly couldn't tell you whether I liked it or not. If I did, it was not my intent to do so. It was not my intent in any way to express any unwillingness to interact with any part of our community. If in fact I did, that was a mistake on my part, and I'll own up to it, and I apologize for that.
Hey, Bill, you want me to post?
Next speaker, please. Is there anyone else that has their hand? Oh, yes. Yes, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, so I just have an idea. My name's Margaret. I live on Monroe Avenue. I'm a resident of Brighton, and I just thought it would be a really neat idea. I know that the land next to Buckland Park has been for sale for a long period of time, and I think we really need more green space in Brighton. And I don't know if this is remotely possible, but it would be really neat if the town of Brighton could get that land. And what if we turn it into public gardens or green space of some kind, plant trees there? That's it.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board this evening? Bridget, has anybody else raised their hand? I don't see anyone.
No one has raised their hand. However, we do have an additional guest, Louise Verdi.
Okay, yes, now I see your hand raised. Go ahead, please. Please state your name and address if you would. Lois Verdi, if you would like to speak.
I'm speaking.
Okay, good. Now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, last time we spoke, you told me.
Could you please state your name and address, please?
I'll state my name, but I'm gonna leave my address alone. You have it already. It's Lois Verde. Okay, so last time we talked, you told me the town board had no jurisdictions on who does business in Brighton. And so I decided, but you said that, but you wouldn't explain why you didn't have any jurisdiction over Planned Parenthood going into Brighton. So I decided to look up the roles and responsibilities that you do have. And I read that the town board determines the types and levels of services to be provided in the town. And then it continues, in its legislative capacity, the board passes resolutions and enacts and laws which govern the functions of town's government and ensures, and this is the important word, ensures the safety and well-being of all residents. So in our last open forum meeting, you stated you don't have the responsibility in Planned Parenthood expanding into Brighton. Yet week after week, we've exposed the dangerous, lawless, illegal behaviors of Planned Parenthood. Since you say that the town board is indeed responsible to ensure the safety and well-being of all residents, it seems to me that it is indeed your responsibility to stop Planned Parenthood from coming into the community. Not only that, but it appears the statement that, quote, determining the types of services would include approving or denying Planned Parenthood's ability to provide services. As mentioned many times through presentations, presenting depositions, court cases, documents, testimonies from the abused, Planned Parenthood's illegal operations of partial birth abortion, trafficking in body parts, aiding and abetting sex traffickers, and their refusal to report the rapists and traffickers must be considered as a threat to the safety and well-being of all residents. Planned Parenthood's illegal behavior has allowed the abuser to continue trafficking children and allowing statutory rape to go on for years. And in other cases, it allows the abuser to prey on many more children. Is this not endangering our children and community? There are numerous articles stating the harm caused by sexual abuse. They warn against the dangerous results of ongoing abuse, and if not dealt with immediately, will plague the child for a lifetime. It will cause multiple behavior problems during their teen years and will set them on a path for further abuse in their adulthood.
30 seconds, please.
Many of these children will lash out in anger, putting increased violence into our communities. These children go to our schools, to our shopping malls, and live in our neighborhoods. Maybe they will end up in our correction facilities, but the abuser will go free, and they will continue to live in our communities, and they will shop in our malls and continue to have access to our children and our schools and our playgrounds. Please consider this. When you do have the ability to stop the expansion of Planned Parenthood and not only the ability, but the responsibility to stop these kinds of businesses from coming into our communities, that put us all in.
Time. Thank you very much, Ms. Verdi.
Yep.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Is anybody else? Hearing none, then we will continue on with the business portion of the meeting. We'll resume where we had left off. Can I have a motion to receive and file communications?
So moved.
Second, Christine.
2 items of communication tonight. Any discussion on those? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Committee reports. Community Services Committee, Robin.
Thank you, Bill. The Community Services Committee has not met in the intervening time since our last town board meeting. I do, however, have some updates from our Parks and Recreation Department heads. From our Recreation Department, winter spring registration has begun. Registration is now open for residents and non-residents to sign up for our upcoming programs. Sign up early online to secure your spot. Full program offerings and registration can be found on the Recreation Department website. That address is www.townofbrighton.org/rec, REC. And I just wanted to highlight one of our new programming opportunities. Winter provides us with the opportunity to offer ski and snowboard lessons and break camps at Powder Mill Park, managed by Swain Ski Resort. There are many options available online to meet your busy schedule. This is a great, affordable way to introduce your kids to skiing close to home. And I also want to remind the community that if you have a program idea or skill that you'd like to share with the rest of the community, contact us at the Recreation Department to find out how to be added as a program instructor. Complete the new program proposal on the Town of Brighton Recreation website, or give the Recreation Department a call at 585-784-5260, extension 0. Some of our exciting upcoming Two programs include Eating Healthy to boost your immune system, Schoolhouse Theater Rocks, ski and snowboard lessons, Lift, that is low impact fitness training class, horseback riding, basketball, and so much more. So please do check out this exciting programming. And then from our Parks Department, staff continues to monitor facility reservations against our COVID-19 policies and procedures. We are busy setting up 2022 service contracts, bids, and various equipment and supply requests from staff. Park staff has started a much more extensive equipment inventory to categorize items and help make repairs and replacement requests easier and more efficient. As our maintenance and facility demands continue to grow, we have started to take a closer look at park maintenance procedures, and our park superintendent is working to reevaluate and set new maintenance standards for all parks and other properties maintained by the Parks Department. The main goal is to continue to provide safe, functional, and aesthetically pleasing parks and facilities. Setting new standards, maintenance tasks, and frequency will keep park staff customer service focused and ensure that we're meeting the community's expectations. The Parks Department is also looking at reorganizing some part-time titles, as well as anticipating future shift coverage, especially on nights and weekends. Park staff is currently busy with some more extensive ongoing indoor lodge maintenance projects. These projects are difficult to fit in because of the large volume of rentals. So staff must take advantage of the facility's availability when they can. And so you might see them adjacent to some of your rentals. Parks, especially trails, continue to see heavy use. The Parks Department seems to be receiving more and more requests for snow removal along our trails. But some trails simply are not well suited for accommodating our snow removal equipment because of the materials used on the trail. So we just want people to be mindful of that. As always, our Parks Department continues to focus on regular park maintenance tasks, as well as identifying new tasks that seem to pop up every day. Our next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be in person on Wednesday, January 19th, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. at the Brookside Recreation Center multi-purpose room. As always, members of the public are invited to attend. We will be masking and social distancing. So if you do have an interest in attending, we ask that you contact our Recreation Department, and that number is 585-784-5260, extension 0, just to let us know that you'll be joining us so that we can safely accommodate everyone. That's all I have. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Robin. I want to just elaborate, add on a little bit more, because you raise a good point about the snow removal from our trails. We maintain, most of our trails are not paved. They are stone dust or gravel. They're really not suitable for being paved, and we try to keep them in as natural, the condition as they've been built. But it's also important to remember, in these last couple of snowy days, I've seen lots of people out cross-country skiing, people snowshoeing. So the trails get different use during different times of year, and keeping the snow on the trail makes them more usable for folks that want to use them that way. So no, we don't plow them, but they are very, very much open and available for public use. So thanks for that, Robin. Finance, Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee met last Monday, January 3rd. Each of the items that were discussed in committee appear on tonight's agenda and will be voted on and discussed in further detail. Our next meeting of the Finance and Administrative Services Committee will take place next Tuesday, January 18th. We meet at 3:30 in the afternoon in the main auditorium at Town Hall, and the public is invited to attend.
Thanks, Jason. Now, I don't want to get confused here because we did make a couple of changes in chairs of our committees. So I'm going to call on the new chair of our Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Chris Warner. Chris.
Thanks, Bill. I was pleased to begin my tenure as Chair of Public Safety, and we did have a meeting just this past Tuesday. We had reports from Brighton Ambulance regarding their year so far, or at least last year, excuse me. They had a total of 660 requests for services throughout the month of January, with a total of 423 being within the ambulance district, and a number of them, 211 being for mutual aid, of which they responded to 107, implementing Code 32 policy 42 times, which allowed Brighton Volunteer Ambulance to cover 13 calls within the district that would otherwise been assigned to mutual aid. Total Brighton Volunteer Ambulance requests for service up to December 31 is 7,381 requests, which is up 21.4% from the 2020 volume, which of course was somewhat lower than previous years. That it's probably about to be expected as we try to put COVID behind us, but we'll continue to follow that. The Brighton Fire Department finished 2021 with 2,276 runs, and they are compiling their annual report. Also, in addition to the duty officer at Station 1, there's also to be an officer on the apparatus at Station 2 at 12 Corners. The Department of Public Works reported that their major focus, at least overnight, had been snowfall. They have completed their fall leaf pickup, and we're on to plowing and salting the roads to keep them clear, along with all the other things that the DPW does. Brighton Police Department gave an extensive report. At my request, I asked a report on catalytic converter thefts, which had appeared to be a regular occurrence. And the chief was good enough to report that in the county, there's been some 700 to 800 thefts in 2021 of catalytic converters. Now, those are the items that are part of your exhaust system underneath your car, and thieves slide in underneath the cars, remove the catalytic converter, and head off with them in about 5 minutes. So we've had 35 thefts, or 5% of those overall within the county. And there'd been 2 more this past weekend at Movies 10 while people were inside watching a movie, only to find their car had been disabled. About 13 people have been arrested countywide in 2021, and a countywide task force is working and with an active investigation. And we hope that they'll continue to be able to make some headway there. The chief was pleased to report that he expects to be up to full strength, filling the 1 vacancy we have with a new hire next month. He also reported on the extensive training that we continue to have in the department, along with active bystander for law enforcement, or ABLE training, with duty to intercede, demonstrate practical methods to intercede, procedural justice, police community interactions, gaining police legitimacy, history's role in hampering police legitimacy, defensive tactics, integrating communication assessment and tactics, de-escalation skills, and taser recertification. There's a very active training aspect of our department function there. And also reported that we've completed some facility upgrades, painting some common areas with some new desk chairs and countertops and locker rooms. Also, he reported on a couple of significant arrests, arrested for a robbery burglary on Runnymede Road, was Warren S. Braswell, age 53, for robbery and burglary in the 1st degree. And that was after a robbery report or burglary report came in, and the police department went out and was able to find the the defendant and arrest him. Rochester Fire Department submitted their summary of calls for service. Unfortunately, we don't have the numbers here before us. Also, for the first time, the Henrietta Fire District came and attended with both the operations chief and the personnel chief, I guess. They gave an extensive report on the transition of the West Brighton Fire Station. And again, our thanks to our fire marshal, Chris Roth, there for the fine work he did in helping that transition. So far, they have 26 calls to date out of Station 7 there. And the transition went very well. We also had a discussion of the aging water lines along the West Henrietta Road corridor and the increasing number of water main breaks, which impairs their ability to hook up their hoses and turn on the hydrants. And they've had to bring in lines from the Town Line Road to service the area. The department asked that we commend the Brighton Police Department on their response to various calls and the warm welcome that they were given in the community. They are working on community risk reduction efforts and outreach of existing smoke and carbon monoxide alarm programs to the residents of West Brighton. And any resident of West Brighton can call the non-emergency number for any fire safety protection installation requests. That number is 334-1234, 334-1234. They also indicated they're working to establish relationships and provide fire safety education with various community groups as the various immigrant cultures exist within the Henrietta and the West Brighton area. They gave an example of the folks that have come from Nepal, and there's quite a large Nepali community there, and their meal preparation method usually involves cooking over an open wok in the garage, and unfortunately, that's caused some garage fires. But it's something they respond to and they're aware of, and very impressed with their approach to fire safety in the town. We also had an updated, let's see. The deaf child sign on Chelmsford Road will be installed shortly. And we discussed also the consideration the town will have of a tax assessment discount to be afforded fire and ambulance volunteers, which would involve a 10% reduction in tax assessed values, which would give a benefit to those folks that volunteer for both fire and ambulance service. And last, we had quite an extensive discussion of the Argeni Winton Road gas main replacement project. This is quite an extensive replacement project for the gas main out, which is located under Winton Road South. The project will go from just at the end of my street here, but essentially largely it's from Winton and Highland all the way down South Winton Road past the high school. This is going to occur at the end, starting at the end of March, early April, and extend through November, all during this upcoming construction season. And we expect it is going to be very disruptive to Winton Road traffic, which is a heavily traveled thoroughfare. We've asked them to look very critically at what the impact's going to be on the town, the amount of traffic that's going to be, that folks are going to be diverting their rush hour routes in through the neighborhoods and such, and to be proactive about notifying the community of what to expect there. Supervisor Maley has requested that they schedule a public meeting to allow for community feedback and also to provide the town staff with an emergency on-site contact while the project is being constructed. The Argeni staff shared their contact information, and I've asked that the outreach coordinator there for Argeni do attend each of our upcoming monthly meetings just to report on where they stand with the contacts. So most of the contacts within the community are in the planning phase at this point, only, and we've encouraged them to contact obviously the school district, which is going to see a significant impact on the bus transport, and then all the other community groups, the neighborhood groups, the temples, the churches. The thought, however, is that they will maintain traffic on Winton Road, although the initial plan is it will just be one way with a flag person.
No.
But
One lane.
One lane, a one
One
way
lane in
time.
each direction.
Well, will they maintain 2 lanes of traffic then?
Yes, one lane in each direction.
Excellent.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because
Thanks, Bill.
I think you had left the meeting and we had clarified that question. So during construction, during the day, they will have a flag person at the northern end of the project, not in the 12 corners. And the 12 corners are going to maintain one-way traffic in both directions, one lane of traffic in both directions through the 12 corners. But as you get further north, they're going to have a flag person there during construction. So they'll let one-way traffic go, then stop it and let the next traffic go at the north end of Winton Road. At the end of the day, they're going to button everything up and open up the road back to 2-lane traffic.
Well, Mike, you had asked that they consider the possibility that we could maintain 2-way traffic on reduced lanes. Given the width of Winton, they're going to take a look at that.
That's correct.
The initial plan.
Because that is not what had ever been represented. And I'm sorry I had to leave the room briefly for another Zoom. That is absolutely not what Argeni had represented to us at any time before that.
I think having a flagman or a flag person with one lane at a time would be a disaster. So I agree with you, Bill, that they should maintain 2-way traffic if at all possible. Work is going to be from 7:30 a.m. till 3:30 in the afternoon. At least it'll be closed up for the afternoon rush hour, where they'll put then steel plates down over any open excavation sites. But it's going to be disruptive for a good 6 to 9 months as we go forward here. So we look forward to their report and their report on their meetings with the various community groups in our next meeting, which will be Tuesday, the 8th of February at 0800 hours, as we say, 8 o'clock in the morning. And the community is always welcome. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Chris. But I can't begin to say how disturbed I am to hear this when that had not been a part of any prior discussion. Argeni has, in my mind, been negligent in their coming to the table to communicate details of this project. This is an example of why they should have been out there communicating with us, communicating with public safety agencies, communicating with the school district. A long time before this, we've told them to do that. They have not done so. And that, unfortunately, is consistent with some of Argeni's failed performance in other respects with the town of Brighton. That simply is not a traffic configuration that's going to work there. And we're simply going to have to engage with them further and determine a way to keep one lane of traffic going in each direction at all times.
Well, that was made clear by Commissioner Guyon, and hopefully they'll be able to change their plan then.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Mike. And finally, Public Works, our new chair there, Christine Corrado.
So Chris did a bit of a flip, and we are now mirroring one another. But Chris Werner has come over to the Public Works Committee, or has stayed on the Public Works Committee, I should say, and has relinquished the chairmanship role and is bolstering me along as I take on chairpersonship of Public Works. And you've done a fine job picking up public safety. Reporting out in the grand tradition of great detail about every agency represented in the town of Brighton. So well done, and I'm sorry I missed yesterday's meeting. Public Works Committee met on Tuesday, January 4th. There were no matters of old business on the agenda, so we started the year off with something very pertinent to all in the community. The Quickly's 12 Corners incentive zoning application came before the committee. The applicant has presented an incentive zoning application, which includes the construction of a new convenience store and gas fueling station at 12 Corners. The project is located at the southeast corner of the Monroe Avenue, Elmwood Avenue intersection. It's where the mobile gas station is currently. The project includes the combination of parcels at 1950 and 1966 Monroe Avenue. So that would be the small bungalow behind the gas station. That property would be combined in with the gas station property. The pre-existing non-conforming use is not associated with 1966 Monroe Avenue. Since this use is not permitted on that parcel, the applicant is pursuing an incentive zoning application to accommodate the proposed use and required area variances for the project. The initial application for the project was presented to the planning board in July of 2021. And at that time, it mimicked the current configuration of the gas station, and where the fuel pumps are located to the front, up at the corner of the parcel, and with the building at the back. The planning board suggested that the applicant consider relocating the fuel pumps to the rear of the parcel and place the building to the front. And the applicant presented a revised layout, which considers the planning board's suggestions to the Public Works Committee to investigate the committee's support for the project and subsequent incentive zoning application. The applicant has indicated that the proposed project will be owned and occupied by a single tenant, so that would be just Quickly's. And the project will also include a level 3 electric vehicle station. So they recognize that fueling for vehicles will change down the road, so to speak. And we know that it will change. We don't know how fast it will change, but they're forward thinking about this. The incentives for the project include allowing a use that is not currently permitted and multiple area variances. If I recall correctly, if they were to go the zoning board route seeking variances, it would be at least 9 that would have to be considered. The applicant is proposing to provide a park area, including seating areas at the corner of Monroe Avenue and Elmwood Avenue as an amenity. And the committee was supportive of the layout, but there was a lot of input, as you might expect. We've been hearing a lot from the community, and many on the committee had much to say about it as well. The committee would like to see some modification of the proposed building architecture and consider public access to the building from Monroe and Elmwood Avenues, or at least ensuring that the facade is welcoming and worthy of such a prominent location in the center of Brighton. We asked that they reevaluate the proposed freestanding sign. We like to keep our signage modest and appropriate for such a prominent corner. We asked for the consideration of the installation of bike racks and a bike maintenance station, and we asked them to reconsider the proposed landscaping for the project to ensure that it, again, fits the aesthetic of 12 Corners that we envision for the community. So they'll be taking that back, reworking it, and we anticipate seeing them before us again. And we'll be working out whether or not incentive zoning approval should be granted. Did you want to add anything more to that, Bill? You were very deeply in the conversation about what we want to see the center of town to look like.
No, I think you've summarized it very well. And obviously, like any other incentive zoning project, it will be something that will get a lot of attention. And we want to make sure that, as you've said, it's such a prominent location and so important that it tie into our theme of making Brighton a more walkable community, we want to make sure that the design and the amenities all meet that goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and there has been considerable talk in the community already about this. So much of that was reflected in the comments that came from the committee to back to the applicant. The other matter that was addressed on the 4th was the cannabis local law amendment. We reviewed proposed amendments to the local law to clarify the use of cannabis and cannabis products. The amendment treats the use of cannabis and cannabis products the same as the use of similar substances under the town's smoking and vaping local law, which are regulated under the town's adult use zoning provisions. The committee had questions regarding the terminology included in the amendment, and the terminology is consistent with New York State's terminology, and changes could create, if we changed the terminology, if we massaged the words any, we may end up unintentionally creating conflicts with state requirements through our amendment. Our town attorney is refining and revising the amendment, and a public hearing to present the law and seek public comments will be scheduled. I believe we'll be scheduling that tonight. And that was all that was addressed at the first meeting of the Public Works Committee of 2022. The next meeting will be February 1st at 9 in the morning. We do ask that folks, if members of the public anticipate attending, that they call Town Hall at 784-5252, just so that we can be ready to accommodate folks in the auditorium. And if anybody has matters to bring to the committee, they can reach out to any of the members, and we will see that they are on the agenda. And that is all.
Thank you, Christine. I do want to go back to our public hearings for a moment. Deborah Housel, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who is has joined us in the Zoom. It's my understanding, that we goofed. We identified Alamo Road, and
Yeah.
I believe that Alamo is actually Alamo Drive.
Correct.
So we'll make that change. But Deborah, is there? Do you have any other thoughts or any other comments on this proposed law?
No, I just want to thank Mike to the board, and that you are willing to look at that and do it. Since the pandemic, we've had so many walkers, families, young children on scooters and everything. I just find that it's very much a walking community around Alamo and Drury and those streets. So I appreciate the attention it gets. Thank you.
Thank you. And what I will do is I will add, that motion was made by Christine and seconded by Jason. And again, Ken, jump in if you don't like this process, but I'm going to suggest that although the board did vote on it, I'm going to ask that you accept a friendly amendment to the motion in the second, changing the reference. There's a couple of references to Alamo to make it clear that it's Alamo Drive and not Alamo Road. Is that friendly amendment acceptable to both of you?
For the sake of clarity and precision, absolutely.
Bill, if we want to do this according to Robert's rules, which I think we do, why don't we have a motion made to reconsider?
Oh, that's a good idea. All right.
Let's vote on that motion to reconsider. Then we can amend the motion.
Here's the problem with that, Ken. I don't believe that you can have a motion to reconsider made by anybody that voted in favor of it in the first place.
That's not true. It's opposite. If you are in the victorious voting category, whether it's in favor of or opposed to, then you can make that motion to reconsider.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. Okay. Then why don't we go back to Christine again and ask you to make that motion to reconsider? And Ken, just to be clear then, Ken, we need to first take a motion to reconsider, take action on it, and then take action on the revised, or is that first vote sufficient? Two votes.
Oh,
Two
so
motions.
yes, if I could suggest language perhaps?
Absolutely.
Couldn't that just be considered as a typo since the other does not exist? Rather than go through all this? Because we can correct typos without additional action, correct?
Well, that's why I was suggesting the friendly amendment.
But I don't know my Brighton geography well enough to know that there is not an Alamo Road anywhere in the county or in the town of Brighton.
There is only one Alamo.
Okay.
Street or drive
or I'm not familiar with the rule that Dan just articulated, but
okay, then we will do as you suggested, and I'm gonna
just checking before we went through all the hoops.
And I'm gonna ask Christine, you're making a motion to reconsider.
I move that we reconsider the motion to approve the local law establishing speed limit reductions.
Thank you, Jason. Will you second that?
I'll second that motion, yes.
And so now we'll take a vote. Okay. Well, we will ask Dan for a vote on the motion to reconsider.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. And now can I have, again, I'll ask you, Christine, for a motion, but one that reflects in all respects any references to Alamo Road to Alamo Drive.
Yes.
And other than that, the law and the motion would be as printed.
I move for the sake of clarity and precision that we approve a local law establishing speed limit reductions from 30 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour for Drury Lane from Park Lane to Alamo Drive from Penfield Road to Dale Road, East Dale Road from Dale Road to Superior Road, and Superior Road from Penfield Road to the town of Penfield town line. I move that we approve the, oh dear God, why do I always blank in that? The resolution before us as amended in motion.
Thank you. Are you good with that, Ken?
And a similar amendment to the proposed local law.
To the local law itself. Correct.
Changing the word road to drive following the word Alamo throughout the local law.
Correct.
Yes.
And Jason, will you second that?
I second that motion, yes.
All right. Then is there any further discussion on that amended motion? Okay, hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio?
Aye.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye, and thank you again, Deborah, for bringing that to our attention. We appreciate it. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but don't feel you have to.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're finished with our committee reports. Then we will go on to new business. Jason, reading and approval of the claims.
Yes, Bill. Yesterday, I reviewed claims totaling $322,970.49. Notable claims include to Insight Architecture in the amount of $8,110.49 for the design and construction services for the Brighton Farmers Market Phase 3 project per awarded bid. Also to the Depository Trust Company in the amount of $7,537.50, representing biannual interest payment on 2019 serial bonds issued, and those bonds covered the projects where the Highland Crossing Trail, Havens Road, and 2 highway trucks. Also to Lexipol LLC in the amount of $13,472, representing payment for subscription services for supplemental and training bulletins for the Brighton Police Department. Also to Rocky Mountain Granite and Marble, Inc. in the amount of $324.48, representing payment for the tech lab room countertops and sinks over in the public safety wing. And finally, to SWBR Architects in the amount of $10,331.92, representing partial payment for services related to the Parks and Recreation feasibility study. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second.
Chris. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Next matter, Christine.
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with InX Architecture, PC, for an evaluation of town hall in an amount not to exceed $116,660, and to execute all related documents, and authorize the finance department to make any necessary amendments to the 2022 budget. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Can I have a second, please?
Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Mike, if you'd like to talk about this a little bit.
Sure, I'll be quick. We've had these, we were authorized to go to an RFP back in August, actually, and got we got responses back in October. We actually received 12 responses. Of those 12, we received 3 that we liked. We did request some additional information. Basically, what we requested was a product that was similar to what we were asking for, so we could determine how close they were to what we were looking for, if they've done the type of work we were requesting. InX provided a very nice application there, a very nice supplemental information. We did sit down and talk with them. They are out from their resume and from our discussions. I think they're going to be outstanding at putting together a program for us. Certainly, it's a smaller firm, but certainly committed to our needs. I think it'll be a successful project.
Thanks, Mike. And I think it's important to talk just a little bit about why this project is so important. At its heart, this project is to put together a comprehensive program of work related to the replacement of the HVAC system here in the main part of the building. This building is nearly 70 years old, and so is the HVAC system. We all start getting a little tired and creaky when we start getting close to 70 years old, and this HVAC system is no exception. And although we had it very much on our radar screen in our capital improvement plan, when the pandemic hit, we moved it up because we recognized how important it is to have modern day HVAC in a building that the public is going to use, and in a building that town employees are going to use, that has modern filtration systems and everything else. And we know there's going to be ancillary work that needs to be done. One of the things InX will be able to do is give us a range of options, give us a number of related and maybe even not directly related town hall projects that this may be the right time to do. So this is going to be a significant project. It's a project that I anticipate we will fund largely, if not entirely, from the ARPA federal COVID relief money, the American Relief Plan Act. Specifically, that the guidance on that funding identifies HVAC upgrades for critical municipal buildings as a permitted use for those funds. So this architectural firm will really lay the roadmap for us for this project. And thank you, Mike, for working with them and probably having to do more work than usual as these RFPs go. But the good work you do now will lead, I hope and expect, to a good project down the road.
Absolutely. It is a big project and it will be, I'm confident it'll be a successful project, Bill.
Any further discussion? We do have a motion and a second. Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Jason, why don't I have you do the next two?
All right.
Separately.
The next matter seeks to authorize the solicitation of bids for goods and services for town facilities is included in the 2022 budget. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Robin.
Any discussion? This is something that we do routinely each year to facilitate purchasing throughout the year. Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye, and a companion that is also something that we do every year. Jason, I'll have you do this next one as well.
Okay. The next matter seeks to authorize the solicitation of bids for goods and services for highways. TW is included in the 2022 budget. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Chris.
The one thing I will say is that this year Mike has gone into a little bit more detail, describing some particular significant projects that the town anticipates will be undertaken during the course of this year, and included those in this purchasing authorization. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Robin, if you do the next one, please.
Certainly. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to renew an agreement with Electronic Field Productions, Inc. for the provision of video production and cable television management services in an amount not to exceed $52,000. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Christine.
We've been pleased to work with EFP for some time. They are bringing this meeting to the community tonight, and we appreciate their efforts. The contract sum remains the same as it was in 2021. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Christine, if you do the next one, please.
Yes. The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute a fee agreement with Interpretech for American Sign Language interpreters for town board meetings for 2022. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Chris.
And just as EFP is bringing tonight's meeting to you, so too is Interpretech. Allie and Tallassee are both Interpretech interpreters. So we'll keep the signs coming in 2022. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Hearing none,
Dan? Oh, yes. Go
I
ahead.
just want to comment that since we have added regular interpreting support to our meetings, to the town board meetings, without requiring our deaf and hard of hearing members of the community to call in advance, make plans, put our staff through the exercise of booking interpreters, all of that. Operations are much smoother for everyone, and our deaf and hard of hearing community members participate on an equal plane with our hearing members of the community. So we're really grateful for the service and the opportunity to ensure that everyone has access to our meetings.
Thanks, Christine, as they should, and it's certainly part of our DEI work. We want to make sure we are inclusive in all respects. We have this motion and it's been seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner, Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Chris, if you do the next one, please.
The next item is to amend the 2022 holiday schedule. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Jason.
We've just made one change to be consistent with our past actions. We have that motion and seconded. Any further discussion?
Just to
Hearing
change spring holiday from Monday, April 18th to Friday, April 15th.
Correct. Dan, please call the roll on that motion.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Christine, I'll ask you to do the next one, please.
The next matter seeks to set a public hearing for the proposed code amendments related to the sale and use of cannabis and cannabis products in the town of Brighton. The public hearing would be set for Wednesday, January 26th. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Jason.
Second, thank you, Jason. Just to clarify one thing, you'll see in the resolution that it indicates that it will either be at Brighton Town Hall or through video conferencing if the law so permits. And I just late in the day today received some updated information from Ken on that. This seems like a good time to give an update on where the state is at, Ken, or where we may be going in terms of continuing remote meetings during this period of COVID.
Sure. So under current law, it's chapter 417 of the laws of 2021. All open meetings may be held virtually for public bodies through January 15th of 2022. Of course, that date is 3 days from now. Today, the state Senate and the state Assembly passed a new bill which would amend the public meeting law to provide, or the open meetings law, to provide that those virtual meetings could continue for public bodies as long as the governor's state of emergency order, which is order number 11 issued by Governor Hochul, remains in effect. That order was issued in November of 2021 and also expires on January 15th of 2022. So what has to happen, and what we expect to have happen between now and January 15th of 2022, 3 days from now, is that the governor will both sign the new bill that was passed by the Senate and Assembly and issue an extension of Executive Order 11 or issue a new executive order continuing the state of emergency so that we will be able to continue to meet virtually. And the best guess is that that extension will be through sometime in April of 2022 at this stage.
Thanks,
That's what
Ken. So this proposed motion is fine as it is. We anticipate that our next meeting, when this public, well, actually, the public hearing is set for February 9th.
Yes, I misspoke. I was just going to say,
That meeting, but also our meeting 2 weeks from tonight on January 26th, will continue to be held remotely. Okay, we have Christine's motion. It was seconded by Jason. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye, and Chris, if you would handle the last one, please.
Bill, the last item on the agenda is to set a public hearing on a local law concerning real property tax law, section 466-K, volunteer exemption. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Robin.
Thank you. This is the matter that Chris referenced earlier in his presentation. It will provide a 10% reduction in assessment for the primary residence of volunteer firefighters and volunteer ambulance volunteers who live in Brighton and work for an agency that serves the town of Brighton, and not on a mutual aid basis, that serves directly the town of Brighton. This is intended to encourage recruitment, encourage people to volunteer for those agencies, and to reflect the value of the work that they've done. We actually today, the Monroe County Council of Governments met. We discussed a whole variety of things, but one of them was this tax exemption. Apparently, the Monroe County Legislature has passed the comparable motion to grant this exemption. Many other communities that have volunteer agencies are doing so as well. So this will be consistent with what I think will become the norm and expectation across the community. And it's important that this be done quickly before March 1st, because for property tax purposes, March 1st is tax status date. So if we're going to make this exemption, we have to make it in this time frame, which is why the public hearing is set for February 9th. Any further discussion on this proposed resolution?
Bill, just a couple procedural notes for the board. So I was speaking with Sue Wentworth, our town assessor. The way that a homeowner would be able to take advantage of this new tax exemption is by filing an application provided by the Commissioner of Tax and Finance. Those forms are not yet ready for publication, apparently, but should be very shortly. There is a very short and small window from February 9th to the date that is the taxable status date, March 1st. In reality, if this board held a public hearing on the night of February 9th, the earliest that this law would go into effect, the local law would go into effect, is when the town clerk could get it filed in Albany, which would be a few days at least later. So we would be really squeezing folks. But as I said, the commissioner doesn't have the forms ready. There is the possibility of taking Christine's earlier suggestion and having the public hearing on January 26th instead of February 9th. We could do that by law if we were able to publish the notice timely. And that's why I'm bringing it up now. I haven't had a chance to ask the town clerk if that's possible. but with our new official newspaper being the Daily Record, the lead times are a little less. So we need that notice published in the Daily Record 5 days before we would hold the public hearing. So by the 20th, 21st, I don't have a calendar in front of me, of January. I don't know if that's something that the board is interested in doing to move this up a little bit, knowing that the forms aren't ready in any event, or if you want to just leave it on the February 9th public hearing date that I put in there.
Dan, can that be published timely? Okay.
Hopefully.
Well,
the problem, I don't know if they have any publication interruptions with Martin Luther King Day next week.
sure.
I don't believe so, but I can't say definitively.
They might be. I mean, the courts are closed. I mean, it's a holiday.
Yeah,
I
and
haven't-
that is
I haven't
why I
gotten any
originally.
notice about that.
That is why I originally picked February 9th, because I knew that we could make that publication date, but I did want to just present that opportunity in case the board wanted to do that. What you don't want to do is set the public hearing for January 26th and then not be able to publish notice.
Right.
So,
Let's keep it where it is.
okay.
Cognizant that we're going to want to get
We likely won't.
communication out to the, I think we're going to have a pretty good idea who the eligible people are. And it's a finite number. The number of Brighton Fire volunteers, for example, appeared to be less than 30. I don't think we've seen a list yet from BVA, and we don't know if any Henrietta Fire volunteers live in Brighton. So it's a relatively small list, and I think we'll be able to get the word out so that they'll be able to get their applications in time. And I know the agencies themselves are very much involved, advocating for this. And in fact, the Brighton Fire District and the Henrietta Fire District themselves are planning on giving this exemption to their members for the cost of the district charges for those fire districts. So I think everybody's going to be aware that this is out there and has to be acted upon by the volunteers before March 1st. So I think we'll be okay doing the February 9th meeting.
And do we need to actually receive confirmation that state has filed? Because we won't get that by March 1st.
No, I think
Okay, it can be sent, but I won't receive confirmation.
It is effective upon the filing with the Department of State.
And that's my mail date. Because I won't know when they got it until after March 1st.
we may need to use overnight.
I would suggest
for
that would
this
be the way to do that.
Yep. And we've done that. We've done that once or twice in the past. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Get some confirmation.
Let's leave the date where it is. The motion is seconded. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFoncio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. That's the last matter of new business. I do not have any matters for the supervisor. And Ken, other than to just mention, I am going to ask that we go into executive session as we get done here. But Ken, is there anything you have?
Nothing for me. Thank you.
Dan, anything from you? Town board members, anything?
Nothing further.
Okay, then can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters of real estate?
So moved.
Second.
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFoncio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Mailer.
Aye. I don't anticipate that we will be coming out to take any further action in public after the executive session. So the next town board meeting, again, it's Wednesday, January 26th at 7 p.m. I anticipate, based on the report the town attorney gave us, that we'll be doing that remotely, and we will obviously get that out to the community. But in the meantime, everybody have a great night, board members and the clerk. Please stay for, and the town attorney for executive session. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.